This is Will.
This is Alex.
Welcome back to another episode of They Mostly Come Out of Me.
Hello, everyone. You know the drill. You know where to go. Go to YouTube.
Everywhere.
Go to your web zones. Go everywhere. Go like, comment, subscribe, share our stuff.
Comment.
Really helps out the podcast, all that good stuff. Suggestions. We do it every 5 episodes.
Of which today is one of them.
We did one today. I hope you're all happy. We're recording on a Tuesday as well.
Yeah, you still got your episode.
Because we still got a weekly episode in. So we're on track, baby. Okay? So please.
This train does not stop.
Please, if you like what you're hearing and you like our reviews, why don't you give us a little, a little comment, a little suggestion, a little share, maybe a thumbs up, whatever you do, whatever you do to support the people you like. How about you do that?
Yeah.
That would really help us out.
We appreciate it.
We really appreciate it. We appreciate anyone listening. So thank you so much. And now I guess I don't have any other business.
No.
All right, let's get into fucking Terror Circus.
So, this was recommended by the same person who recommended The Mutations. Because that movie was a person who made quality work who ended their career on schlock.
Yes.
And this is the opposite, where it's someone who...
Well, one of the directors.
We'll get there. But the credited director...
Yes.
He started his career with schlock and then made real movies after this.
Okay, so here's the thing after hearing and watching this video, though, or this movie, sorry, not video. I kind of think maybe he wasn't a shit director because he probably was given a shit movie.
No, I mean, I'll be completely honest. I don't think this is...
it's pretty competently made. I think the thing that makes it shit is what the original director did.
The script.
Well, the script and everything, because I don't think the directing is actually that bad, to be honest.
Yeah,
now,
I don't have any, I'll be honest, I don't have any issues with the directing.
We will get to it, but my biggest gripe with this movie. The number one thing I fucking hated in this goddamn movie is the goddamn soundtrack.
The porno music.
Dude, the soundtrack does not fit the tone at all. I guess we're getting into it. I hate the soundtrack of this movie.
Porno music.
It is so stupid. And then they do weird circus music at the worst times possible. It's supposed to building up all this tension, and it's just fucking these fucking brass and then little tam tams and fucking the goddamn drum line going and shit. I'm just why? This is
why?
This does not fit the time. I get it's supposed to be circus theme. Maybe do that. maybe do that once, right? But you don't have to do it your entire fucking movie.
Oh yes, you do.
You could calm down.
Listen, I get it. I totally get it because, I mean, it's clear because the guy who the original director, who also produced the movie and did the story,
pornos, yeah.
He made pornos,
yeah.
And
that's is that
Gerald
Cormier?
Yeah,
Cormier.
He got fired as director, which is impressive.
Yeah. It's although after seeing the movie, not surprising because we'll get into it in the scenes,
theories.
but we basically had a theory that he wanted to make this a lot hornier.
Well, it's just I don't know. It's just odd to get fired as a director of a movie that you wrote the story for and you're producing and you're still credited on as the producer. It's impressive.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of interesting.
It's definitely coming from that angle of this is someone who made pornos, who wanted to make a exploitation, women locked up in chains sex film.
Yeah.
But instead it's a lot more, I would say, I don't know, professionally done, I guess. It's definitely less smutty than I thought it would be. I was almost expecting this to look like and feel like a Al Adamson movie, but it doesn't. I mean, there's really not a lot in here that's like that bad.
Yeah, well, so, and that's the thing. It's like, I didn't hate this movie almost at all. I thought it was pretty well done. I thought it was like, again, there's like really tense moments. It's really horrific, the like subject matter. Because if you think about it, like if this was like a real life thing, it would be like headline news, like really horrific shit.
Well, also, I thought going into this, because when this was recommended to us, the title that they recommended it under was Barn of the Naked Dead. So I saw that title and I saw the plot line, and immediately in my head, I'm like, this is gonna be shit.
Well, it could have been like really dumb, but actually, like it's pretty well done. And it's, you know, I think it could be scary. That's the thing. That's the thing that kind of infuriates me. I think it could be a well-made, really like pretty good movie, right? But the soundtrack just drags it through the fucking mud, dude. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I wish someone would do like a supercut where they take out all the fucking... I'm not talented enough to do that. But take out all the fucking carnival,
music.
like circus music, and put in like actual like composed... Well, I guess circus music is composed, but put in like symphonic, like horror music.
Yeah.
Something like composed for a horror movie, not a fucking clown show. That's what I'm talking about. Like, because I think it would have been a lot better. And I'll just get my critiques out of the way right here, because I will probably like go over like the movie, obviously, but I think it would have gotten top marks for me if the fucking soundtrack was different. And that's all I have to say at the beginning. Now, the plot is very simple, but that's not a bad thing. It's just takes place in basically one location.
Yeah.
And it's just basically like a typical, not a typical really, but there's like, it has some stuff peppered in to like keep it interesting and like kind of like keep you engaged, and it's not like exactly what you think, and there is kind of a twist, which is nice. I did kind of like that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
There is like a nice twist at the end. So if you do want to go, I would recommend watching this movie before, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, because it is actually pretty good. It's annoying that it's only on Plex. We had to watch it on Plex, and there are a lot of ads. Like, we watched stuff on Tubi, and it was less ads than Plex.
Significantly.
Because Plex was about 15 minutes worth of ads. I'm not going to lie.
For an hour and 20-some minute movie.
Yeah, it was kind of infuriating. It was like watching something on like cable television.
Yeah.
It was so annoying.
Almost a 2 hour. It basically makes it an almost 2 hour long movie.
Yeah. That being said, it is a very good looking version of the movie. It's very well polished.
Which is like, I mean, again, you can
it's
tell.
Cleaned up. It's
the person who directed this, they went on to make real movies.
Yeah. And
talents.
I mean, that shows, right? I mean, that shows, and the actors are actually pretty good and pretty convincing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's only one thing that drags this movie down.
The porno
music. The porn clown music. So anyway, let's get into the plot. So basically what happens at the beginning is there's these two hitchhikers that get picked up by this guy, right?
Driving a army van.
You don't see them ever again. They get picked up, they talk to him, and then they drive away. Mm-hmm. And he's like kind of a normal looking guy. Well, at this point you only see him in the distance, but he's not like disheveled or anything like that. There's nothing like really like inherently wrong with his appearance, right? So he looks totally normal. And then we cut to three girls getting ready for they're on a road trip to Las Vegas.
Up, like drinks and snacks at a gas station.
Yeah, and they're like talking about the Coca-Cola is not being...
It's not cold.
It's not cold, and it's wet, and yeah. At first, the script, it does kind of get off to like a rocky start, I would say. The script, they go for this like people talking over, like, which movies can do that.
That part
like,
I don't even know if that's scripted. I think that's just like a choice that was made to make it more.
but like people
natural.
are like jumping at their lines at the beginning. It kind of like calms down a little bit once you get into the movie. But at first it is a little like weird because everyone's talking over each other and you can barely understand some people, and then it's feigning organic, but it's not really that organic. It doesn't feel organic.
I've seen enough indie films that it's not jarring to me.
Well, it's not jarring, but I'm just saying like some people might be off put by it, but it does get better.
Well, the important thing is none of the stuff being said in that beginning is really.
No, I mean it's just small talk. It's not like any importance to the plot.
They're friends. That's all you have to know.
So they try and get two guys try and get picked up. They try and pick them up, and they say something about a carnival, just offhanded. It's just like, hey, do you want to go to a carnival? Basically, your car needs to go in the shop because we
don't know if it'll make it to Las Vegas.
Not good on it. Because they can barely start it, and they're like, no, fuck you, we're gonna go. We're gonna go off anyway.
Well, they're basically like they know that these guys are just trying to
pick them up.
Yeah.
So they drive. The women drive off. They go down the interstate and they turn off a little like shortcut.
Yeah.
And it's like a dirt road, and they're like going, and then their car breaks down
in the middle of this road.
Yeah, and it's like sunset. So
the
sun is setting, and apparently in this stretch of the desert, which is believable, it gets really cold at night, which does like kind of factor in a little bit to the discomfort of our victims. And a lot of people are wearing like jackets and shit. So like,
it's probably filmed in winter.
Yeah, probably sometime around there. Cause I would assume if they're around Las Vegas, it doesn't get that fucking cold, but whatever.
I mean, nighttime, whatever.
But, so anyway, they break down and they fall asleep in their car. And then it's sunrise, and our dude that picked the two women up at the beginning is right there.
You also, before
he's on like a little watchtower. He has like a watchtower.
He's looking through binoculars.
Yeah, he like scopes people out on this watchtower, and he sees them break down, basically. So he goes and says he can help them, and he's like, okay, well, let's get
a phone.
I have a phone at my place. Let's go there, and you can use my phone. And it is I will admit it's a little weird how like just casually they get kidnapped.
Well,
because he lets him go in his barn.
Yeah.
And so they like are talking about how they've never been in a barn before and like what to do in a barn. It's just
they're
weird.
looking at all of like the weird kind of decorations he has.
Yeah, it's like all this like, well, not all of it. I mean, it's just a few carnival posters. It's not really anything. It's a bunch of just shit on the wall.
Because he does mention that, and they see outside he has a cougar locked up.
And so they go into the barn, and then they go into the main section of the barn, and there's a bunch of women chained up to posts in the ground.
And there's several of them are just completely out of it.
Well, and of course they're horrified. And they are like, okay, we got to get out of here. And they turn around and he's right there.
And they are the new.
And I mean, it doesn't show them like tussling or anything. They're just chained up. The next scene, they're chained up.
And they're talking with the other ones, and they've all been there for various lengths of time.
There's one that's been there for 6 months, and she has completely like snapped. Like her brain has just been broken because of all the stuff he does to them.
He keeps referring to them as animals.
Well, and he also has this like thing where if they're not doing what they need to do, they get sent away. They don't really explain what it is right now.
They don't know what that means.
But they get sent away if they're bad. Mm-hmm. And so he feeds them like weird chili shit. I don't know what
Slop.
it is. It doesn't really show what it is. It's just because he just puts it into a tray.
But it's not supposed to be tasty.
So we get a lot of scenes of them just like trying to cope with what their situation is and trying to figure out how to get out of that situation, obviously.
The three girls mentioned, our manager is going to find us.
Yeah, well, and
because we don't show up in Vegas.
They're like, we didn't show up, like they're going to look for us, obviously. And so I think we get this scene where he has them train before we see the manager, right? Anyway, so at a certain point, they do one scene of them like training for the circus.
He stands
I guess
on his watchtower,
and he has a whip, and
he has them raise their arms at like certain intervals and put them down.
And they walk in a circle, and if they're not walking fast enough, he whips them.
There's also a scene where there's two hunters in the desert, and they get attacked by something.
This is a little later in the movie, but it's not really important to the main plot. So yeah, we'll go over it now because they get attacked by something. We don't know what it is,
But it rips off one of their heads and like a limb.
Yes.
And you don't see what it is. You just see it has like human hands.
Yeah. And now we get to like kind of the manager. So basically what's going on is he's at one of the hotels where they were supposed to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, hey, I know they haven't shown up yet. I've put out like missing persons in like California and Las Vegas. I don't know where they are. We're trying to find them. And he's like, I'm basically going to go up and down the interstate looking for them.
Yeah.
And so he goes up and down. We see him at like certain hotel rooms. He's like calling people. He doesn't really do a lot. He's just there to make sure someone is looking for them.
Yeah, because
basically,
any kind of movie like this, there's always the one person who's like trying to.
But he's just making phone calls.
Yeah.
It's not like compelling shit. And so he does eventually get to like a small town
close by.
Close by where they like fueled up, basically, where they got the coke and everything.
And I don't remember who mentions that. I think it might be one of the people in the barn, but at some point they mentioned that this area where they are had a lot of nuclear weapons testing done.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like thrown out there as a little detail, but it comes into play.
And I think they do, one of the women, they finally show what happens when he gets rid of them, right?
Yeah. There's also one of the women who gets, he kind of goes around, I think it's when he feeds them, he leaves like his keys there.
Oh yeah, to like, so it kind of reminded me of like, have you seen The Black Phone?
Yeah.
Where, he like he leaves the door open so he can like punish them for trying to leave. That's basically what happens here. He leaves the keys out so that they'll try and get them.
And yeah, she unlocks the keys and he ends up whipping her. But yeah, there's a scene where he's fully decked out in his circus gear, and he goes in and is like, this is all going great. We have the best circus ever, but one of you is not trainable.
Yeah, there's like a missing link, basically.
The one of you is not, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's you.
So you got to be sent away. So we finally get to see what they mean by sent away. So basically what he does is he takes them to the cougar cage and paints blood all over them.
And he tells them,
like calves' blood.
Yeah, you're free.
It's like you can walk off, and then as they're starting to run, he unlocks the cougar cage and has the cougar chase
and tells
after
them, like, come on, run, go.
Now, I will admit, at first, it's a little weird because obviously it's a trained cougar.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they're not going to use a wild cougar, obviously, but it's kind of lackadaisical at first. It doesn't really look like it's like really interested in anything.
You have like the one. I mean, I wasn't even expecting them to have them in the same shot, but there's like one point where you see her running, and then
I did think that was pretty well done. It's just the scenes of like it kind of looks like they're not in the same space.
It's just kind of walking.
Yeah, it's just being a cougar, right?
It's walking through the desert.
And so she gets to like this little shed, and you see him get like surprised, right?
Yeah, like because she outran
that
the cougar.
She actually made it.
Yeah.
And so she unlocks this like shed to try and like save herself from the cougar, and something attacks her.
You see like hands come out from shadow, and then like it takes her back, and then you see like she has a big gash on her throat.
Yeah, she gets scratched in the throat, and she falls over, and then the women are like,
they hear her dying, basically. Yeah. And then there's a scene where he carries her body into his like little workshop, and you don't know what he's gonna do.
Well, he has this weird little fucking circus music box that he uses, and he like sings them lullabies and shit.
But you don't see what he does yet.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, so now we gonna get into like the third act where he
Mommy.
yeah, he goes into the room and he's looking at
He's in his own room.
well, he's looking at like the women's belongings, right? And he sees a picture of one of the women and then a picture of his mom. And he holds them up and they look similar.
It's also the same scene where he's like sleeping and you hear voices like overlaid of like his dad yelling at him and him telling and him saying like, you know, like, don't go there, it's radioactive, like.
Well, and we kind of get an idea of, I'm guessing the dad before what happens was very abusive, and the mom left.
Yeah.
But left the son there too.
Yeah.
So she basically abandoned the family to get out of a bad situation. And because he was apparently psychotic too.
Yeah.
And so she just couldn't deal with both of them.
Also, because they, you know, I mean, they mention it later, but neither the dad or him wanted to leave this area despite the...
Yeah, exactly. So, like, the mom, like, literally had to get out of the
Yeah.
situation. So she went to, like, Chicago or something,
Yeah.
like he says. I mean, who knows? They might have killed her. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure she did genuinely leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's...
So, but I mean,
thinks it's her.
he's really broken up about it. So he thinks the woman that's caged up is his mom. So he goes and unhooks her and like.
But he still has her on a...
Right.
Yeah.
He's still a psycho. So like obviously he lets her out, but still chained up in his house now.
Uh-huh.
So she can like lay down and stuff, but she's still chained to stuff. And he puts like this weird locket on her. It's really funny when he's putting it on her. I just have to mention this where he kind of like the actor kind of smacks her with it.
He hits her in like the nose.
It was just really funny for some reason. And so anyway, it doesn't matter, but he is like basically what happens is he shows her into the barn and shows her his workshop.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I have to go, but you stay here. You'll be safe here. And, you know, he chains her to like a furnace thing.
Where he's cooking his
chili.
His chili. While at the same time, this is basically when their manager is finally making progress.
Well, yeah. So he's in this little town. He's at a diner, and a sheriff just happens to come in looking for the two hunters that were attacked. And the manager is like, hey, do you know about like 3 women that went missing? And he's like, no, like we usually just write those off because, you know, it's the desert and people get lost all the time.
People get lost on the way to Vegas.
Yeah. And so he's like, well, let's look at this. There's only 2 ways they could have gone. The interstate, which you've gone down, up and down, and then this tiny little road.
That's supposedly locked off.
So
by
let's
the
go.
military.
Let's go check that out. While this is also happening, she's in the workshop and she sees keys underneath the little music box. And so she like tries to reach the keys, and we get like another scene of them driving down the road, and there's like the military like property
Off limit sign.
And
that
so
they just plow through it.
They plow through it, and they're like looking, and they see a barn in the distance, and the manager's
like with the tower.
The manager's like, let's go check it out. And the fucking cop is like, no, not without my deputies. And so basically what happens is the woman that is the pseudo mother, she gets the keys, she unlocks herself, and she starts to go around the room.
She also sees
she sees a head in a cage.
Yeah.
So he's like doing experiments on them, kind of. So he cuts off her head and puts it in like a bird cage in a skinned flesh suit.
A flesh suit that's like, you know how people have like bear skin on their fucking walls and shit?
Yeah.
It's like that, but human skin.
Yeah, and so she goes out into the main room and like tries to unlock her friends, and they're the wrong keys for her friends.
So she unlocks a lot of them, but not everybody.
Yeah, she unlocks the 2 like women that like have kind of lost their minds.
She unlocks the one who tried to escape earlier.
But one of them that lost their minds like rechains herself.
Well, she just sits there.
Yeah, and so
the other one does. There is one that runs off, and she ends up. She runs off, and she goes to the little like hut that has
One unlocks it, right?
yeah,
And so
very like slowly unlocks it. You just see it like someone banging on it.
So our guy, the psychotic guy, he returns, and he's like, he witnesses her trying to unlock her friends.
He's like, you're just like the rest of the animals.
So he takes her to the cougar cage, which the cougar is not present in like the majority of the scene for some reason.
It's not. It's just running through the desert.
Yeah. And so he chains her to like this, like the watchtower, and starts, has the blood and is going to start painting her.
And he gets knocked out.
And then I'm not saying this because of this is literally the credit in the movie is literally Crazy Girl.
Well, technically, I don't know if this is referring to her
or the other woman.
So either one, but one of them who unlocked our dude in the shed. Yeah, she knocks him out.
She knocks him out, and she chains him up, and then pours the blood onto him.
The whole time she's doing this, the other woman is like begging her, like, "Please, you have to let me go.
You have to unlock me.
Unlock the keys. Please. The whole time they're just like, "Please unlock me. Please unlock me."
And the woman just literally like ignores her.
But you see like some.
You see a POV or a monster
stumbling
vision
towards them, and the guy gets up. Our guy wakes up, and he's just like, "Get away from me! Get away from me!"
No, go back, get away from me! And then you finally see our like mutated dad.
It's Daddy,
and his face is all fucked up. It's all like half melted and shit. And it's like, I mean, it looks like a bunch it's like skin graft or something.
Yeah. Only one eye is visible. He has like, half
because in that
his...
vision it was like he went to like a nuclear site and like looked too closely at it or something.
Touched something he shouldn't have touched.
Yeah. So he has like claws and he like starts tearing his son open. And then she's like, the woman is still the woman that one of the women that was kidnapped, the one that he thought was the mother, is still chained up screaming while he's getting attacked.
So the whole time you're thinking like, okay.
You're like, our deputies are going to show up and they're going to fucking like, kill the monster and everyone's going to get out alive.
Everyone's going to live happily ever after.
So our deputies, they get into their little fucking Jeep clown car because they pick them up on the interstate and they start driving down the road, right? But
and our dude kills...
The dude kills the main girl.
And then I'm like, okay.
And then he shambles over to the fucking barn and proceeds to kill every single one of the women. I'm not kidding. He kills every single one except for the one that she unlocked that killed the dude and the fucking other crazy one.
That's it.
Those are literally the only two that survive because the deputies finally show up. They see the dead body of the woman.
They see the headless bodies. They see the whole barn, and one of them, he shoots the cougar running through the desert, and the only two survivors can't speak. They can't fucking say a goddamn word.
And so they're like leading them back to the fucking Jeep.
And they're like desperate, like, what happened? What happened?
And it just cuts to like the shed, right?
Well, it just zooms in on it.
And you see the fucking mutant dad going off into the desert. And then the fucking credits roll. Bro, like that is like, I was not expecting that fucking bleak of an ending.
Yeah,
like holy shit. They just fucking killed everyone.
I was when they killed her off, I was like, wait.
Well, you're like,
really?
Okay, like one of them's going to survive. No. Fucking
and then when he
none
goes
of
into the barn and it just starts him murdering everybody, I'm just like,
well, when he got to the barn, I thought, okay, now the fucking sheriffs are going to show up. Like, one woman died, that sucks. Now the sheriffs are going to show up. No,
everyone dies.
Everyone fucking dies. All the women die. All those women that you were like rooting for to fucking get out of this goddamn situation get fucking murdered. And then the fucking murderer gets set free at the end.
Yeah, he just wanders off.
Fuck me. You know what makes it even worse, Alex? The fucking soundtrack.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Imagine all this shit going on, how bleak it is, how horrific this shit is. All these women getting kidnapped and tortured and fucking all this shit. And you get fucking hee-haw fucking clown circus music.
The ending is one of the only moments of the movie where the music was like not clown because they did like that like heartbeat music, kind of. It was like one of the only moments in the movie where it's not memery.
Yeah, it's like this movie would have been so much better without the fucking like just fucking like Bobo the Clown fucking music the whole time.
Well, listen,
I was so fucking sick of the soundtrack because the movie's actually pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie.
But having said that, it's fine.
I mean, at the end of the day, I still enjoyed the movie. I'm not saying it like, I'm just saying it kind of maybe shed a point for me because holy shit, fire that fucking soundtrack person and get someone else to do your fucking soundtrack because that is the wrong move.
Yeah.
It's just the wrong move because it's a barn. It's not a fucking it's not like it took place at the circus.
It's a terror circus.
Well, yeah, but it's his like psychotic circus.
It's a nightmare circus.
Yeah, but you didn't have to like take that literally with the soundtrack.
It's the circus of the naked dead.
No. I'm sorry. No. There's no way.
Should we talk about oh yeah, there's because every time we had a theory because there's multiple scenes of women being whipped, right?
Yes.
And we're watching this movie and we're thinking like, okay, when they originally made this, I guarantee you that the OG director planned on them being completely naked.
You know what solidified that theory?
The snake?
The snake scene.
Yeah.
So he takes one of the women out and is like, hey, we have everything we need except for like a reptile woman.
So he ties her
hands behind her back.
And he's like, crawl.
And she crawls like a snake. And so he lets out a snake. He's like, you're going to meet a special friend of mine. And you guys are going to get acquainted. And it starts crawling over her like crotch region, right?
And the whole time I'm thinking like,
and I'm like,
no way.
I'm like, this woman 100% was supposed to be naked.
When the fucking OG director was fucking brainstorming this, there's no way in hell that he was not picturing her completely naked.
Like, it just screams the fact that like, he wanted them naked and
for a majority
probably wanted like an X-rated movie.
Well,
and they were like, no, that's not what we're going
probably
for.
Wanted them naked for the majority of the movie.
They are naked in one scene because they bathe each other while he watches, but
it's after he whips him.
Well, it's pretty short, and it's they don't linger on it, which is
very short,
which is good because it's not like this is not a horny movie.
No,
but I guarantee he tried to make it a horny movie. Because I mean, you're supposed to be kind of showing how horrific this is. This guy kidnapping a bunch of fucking women in the middle of the desert. Treating them like
animals, yeah.
Treating them like animals, not feeding them, chaining them up, like breaking their spirits and fucking everything. Now, I mean, it's all for nothing because they all fucking die, but...
Which is great.
I mean, listen, that subverted every expectation I had of this movie because I was just thinking the monster is going to fucking die right when he opens the barn. He's going to get shot and fucking murdered or exploded somehow.
Everyone will live happily ever after.
Because we've watched so many of these movies where the final scene is like the monster is about to kill our main character and then gets fucking yeeted out of existence.
Yeah, which is fine. But
well, I mean, that's like the happy ending,
for something like this, it needs a little something different.
Well, I mean, obviously, I was not expecting that. I didn't think it would do something different, but it did. Either. And you know what? Kudos to this movie because I did not expect that. That was pretty well done, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of threw me for a loop for a minute. I was like in awe.
I was just like,
when the
wow.
monster started fucking murdering every single one of the women, I was just like, are they really doing this? Like, well, holy fuck. Like, I was like, holy shit, they're actually doing this.
Yeah.
Like, every character is dying.
Yeah, everyone
and
dies.
Of course, the fucking incompetent fucking sheriff's department
just hilarious.
Doesn't do jack shit. They just arrive and everyone's already dead. And our manager just fucking, the whole movie just makes phone calls. until he's like, let's go to that barn. And the sheriff's like, no.
We got to get the deputies.
We got to get everyone in the fucking clown car and fucking go down to the fucking circus.
And our manager who makes phone calls and drinks coffee.
Just like men, just sitting at
One
fucking
of
cafes
the women.
while all the women die.
One of the women in the bar,
I know.
the very beginning,
She does mention that, like,
he's just like all of them men.
yeah. I wonder if
He thinks we're all animals, typical man.
I wonder if they intentionally did that, because it's like it almost feels like it's like the men are kind of stupid in this fucking like
I
universe.
truly have no fucking idea. I mean, if they did, I guarantee it's not something that was originally written.
Well, because the women almost like outsmart them.
Yeah.
Almost. I mean, obviously until the fucking monster shows up, but they're basically scot-free until that happens.
Yeah.
Like, she finally gets the one up on him. Everything is going right, and then everything goes wrong.
And then it goes so horribly wrong.
But it's like, the fucking... It's so... It might frustrate some people, because if they were like just a second earlier, they could have saved all the women.
Nope.
Nope.
Not even a second. They even...
Well, yeah, they take their sweet-ass time getting down that fucking road.
Because they show up and, like, Daddy's already gone. He's not in the barn anymore.
Yeah, I mean, damn. I didn't expect to like this movie as much as I did.
Yeah,
Because I saw the poster and I was like, I don't know about this one, bro. Like, I mean, some suggestions are like someone genuinely likes the movie and wants to hear our opinion on it. And then others, it's bad and you suggest it because you want to rage bait us into reviewing this fucking, like, something that's going to make us mad.
You want us to suffer like you suffered.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
You've seen a shit movie and you want us to see it too.
And for this, I mean, I don't know if they...
I don't know the intention here, but I honestly thought it was a pretty well-made movie. I thought it was really well put together.
You can tell that...
I'm not going to go over my gripes again because it's a big glaring issue I have with the movie, but...
You can definitely tell that this was...
It's competently made.
This was, you can tell this was made by someone who went on to make
Because, I mean...
real movies.
Even the main actor that plays the psychotic guy, he was in Grizzly?
Yeah, he was in Grizzly. He played the Grizzly Hunter.
He was way better in this movie. Like, he did a pretty good good job at, like, being, like, convincingly crazy. And,
He was fine in Grizzly. But Grizzly is definitely much more of a normal movie.
Yes.
Until the bazooka.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Because, again, the Grizzly,
bazooka ending.
they explode the Grizzly with a bazooka.
Yeah, after he kills everybody.
Yeah.
Basically everybody. Except the hero, who's got a bazooka.
Yeah, he's got a bazooka. Now, if only they had a bazooka in this fucking movie, they could have saved everyone.
Listen, I was just expecting them to shoot him. And just, he's dead.
I was a little bit hoping for... I mean, this would have been probably too corny, but the fucking cougar mutant fight.
I mean,
it wouldn't have fit the theme of the movie, obviously, but it would have been.
No, man.
It would have been hilarious to see the fucking cougar attack the mutant and then like have a fucking fight, a little like tussle. I would have appreciated that. That didn't happen, obviously, but
no.
I think. They were kind of building up to something with the cougar, but they didn't really utilize it as well. They probably had it for one fucking day, and they're like, okay, we have a cougar for a day.
Someone was like, hey, there is a carnival in town, and we can rent
a cougar.
We can rent it for like a day, have it in the cage, and then we can film it running through the desert. Cool.
And it can interact with one of our actors.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, I mean, it's,
like mildly interact.
We can have it running in the desert with the same person. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they use a stunt actress for that because.
Well, maybe she was like the trainer. Could have been. Mm-hmm. So anyway. So yeah, they had the cougar for one day, and they couldn't really film it like attacking someone.
Yeah, that would have been a bit for this little fucking rinky dinky production. A little dangerous.
You calling this a shoestring budget?
This has like one location,
I know.
other than like some hotels and a diner.
This probably took like absolutely no fucking money to make.
No, there's really like
There's like no like big sets. There's no like
this man produced pornos.
one of them.
What do you mean? The producer,
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Because he was
the
also
OG director,
he
got
also
fired
he
from a
also
movie
tried
he
to be the
produced.
director.
Imagine. Yeah, he produced pornos. Will how much?
If you haven't, go watch Trouble in Mind. I like that movie. It's a
Trouble
good
Mind's
one.
good.
And then he also directed
Made in Heaven's pretty
Choose
good.
Me, Afterglow.
Like he's done just about every genre imaginable.
Like his movies aren't like top tier stuff, but they're pretty decent.
He makes the kind of movies he wants to make.
He did Songwriter as well.
Yeah.
I like Trouble in Mind because it has Chris Christopherson.
Well, it's also
Or
like
if you're a Blade fan, Whistler.
it's also kind of like it's set in like I don't know what you call it. It's like almost like a dystopia.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know.
It's like
yeah.
a dystopian love story. It's interesting. Like I said,
Yeah.
he makes the movies he wants to make.
It's about like a ex-con coffee shop owner.
Yeah.
Like a dystopian fucking
Yeah.
universe.
Like a dystopian version of Seattle.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. I liked
punks
it.
And yeah,
It's very obscure, but I like it a lot. If you know, you know. It's a pretty good one.
I mean, Alan Rudolph, he makes the movies he wants to make.
Yeah.
And watching this, you can tell like, okay, this is someone who knows how to make a movie.
Yeah, well, and it's very apparent. I mean, even with his first movie, it's like it's well directed, it's well shot. I mean, it's not like the fanciest camera work ever, but like, it gets.
Here's the thing with this movie, because the plot is schlock, right? But
Well, obviously,
you can imagine
he didn't write it; he just directed
You
it.
can imagine someone. You can easily picture someone like Al Adamson making this.
Yes, and
Because it has that type of.
it has that kind of flair to it, where it's like,
But
where it definitely feels like a B movie script.
but it's made with a bit more finesse.
It is weird how it's like a B movie script, but like a really well directed.
But it's made by someone
Who like
cares.
understands movies. It's just weird.
because you can easily picture like Al Adamson or fucking
Or a porn director.
or like Ted V. Mickles, another one of our
Oh yeah,
friends.
repeat offenders.
Because it's just, you can easily picture this as an Al Adamson joint of just, there's naked women in a barn and some dude whips them. And there's a guy with like makeup who occasionally like wanders around the desert.
Listen, you could have
literally
gone.
an Al Adamson movie.
You could have gone so many directions with this movie, and I think they went the right direction with it.
Yeah.
Except for the fucking music. I will say that to the day I die.
It's gonna haunt you. It's gonna haunt you.
It is gonna haunt me because it could have been so much better.
You're gonna hear that nonsense.
That fucking clown horn music for the rest of my goddamn life.
Just, I swear, like, if they had no music at all,
That would have been better.
it would have been better.
I beg someone to fucking, I don't know, we don't have this much sway, but if anyone makes a supercut
With no music.
with no music or like corrected music, fucking do that,
a
please.
re-recorded,
Oh god, it would be so fucking good.
a re-recorded soundtrack.
I would rewatch it just for that. If you like put a different tone into it, I would rewatch it because it'd give it such a different feel,
Yeah, it would feel like
like an actual horror movie, not a clown movie. Because the tone is so off in some scenes. Anyway, I'll stop bitching about it. Let's do Shitty to Pretty. This is our. If you're new here, this is our scale segment, and it's all on entertainment value. And we don't do it of how good the movie is; it's how much we were entertained by it. And
it's our rating. If you don't like it, you can
go listen to another
shove it
podcast.
up your bumhole. I'll give it a 6. Yeah. Like a 6.
Okay, so because I'm salty, I'm gonna give it a 5.
Oh, really? Well,
Yes.
You just going right down the middle.
Because it just could have been so much better.
You're just gonna be a freaking fence sitter.
Yes.
God damn it.
Because the music, man.
I know.
It knocked it so far down for me.
Well, it knocked it for me too, because I would have given it like a 7. But
I would have given it a 6 or a 7 if the music was corrected. Because honestly, it is a well-made movie. It is like entertaining enough. But I don't know, like the music just took me out of every single scene that was supposed to have like so much tension.
see, eventually, about 15 minutes in, I accepted. I accepted the reality.
See, the problem was I could never accept
You
it.
have to?
I didn't accept it.
Because you're not leaving.
Well, I didn't. I mean, I watched the movie.
So 15 minutes in, I'm like, okay, this is our soundtrack.
Well, I was hoping it would go away,
So
but
it's
it did
just
not.
like, okay, this is just what it's going to be. This is our porno clown music for the whole thing.
I just was not into
You
it.
could tell.
It just took me out of the movie.
I saw the guy's name in the credits for the music, and I'm like, his name's like Tommy Vig, and I'm like, okay.
It just broke my immersion into thinking this is a horror movie. Because it almost took it into absurdity.
Well, it's not a horror movie. It's a movie about family.
That's what makes it so powerful. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's the Fast and the Furious of horror movies.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
Someone please strip all the fucking soundtrack audio and repost it and then tag me.
No, someone's gonna
tag us in the YouTube because I will watch that whole fucking movie again.
Someone's gonna take this movie and just isolate the soundtrack.
Fuck you. Or what they could do is make even like more bombastic fucking
Add more
like carnival music.
Yeah, no, it's.
I don't know. Like it's a watchable movie. I think it's an enjoyable movie. Like I said, I just couldn't get past the soundtrack. That's just my thing. I think a lot of people will like it, to be honest.
Yeah, if you're into this.
If you're into this kind of stuff where it's like kind of like just these like kidnapping thrillers kind of stuff.
Or just like, I don't know. If you want to, I mean, if you're really into like fucking cheap ass 70s schlock and you kind of want to see that, but better.
Well, and honestly, the print we watched looks really good.
Yeah.
It looks really good. They cleaned up everything. It looks like a newer movie. It doesn't look like it's from the 70s.
It's a good looking movie.
Yeah, it is a good looking movie. It's well shot. Everything is good about it. You know my bitch. So I think that's all I got for,
That's it for Terror Circus.
Terror Circus or Barn of Dead Body Naked People.
Barn of the Naked Dead.
That is definitely
Hint, they're not.
Well, they do.
There is no naked
They're not
dead.
They're not naked, but they are dead.
Well, they will be
They're all gonna be dead
at the end of the movie. We got fucking kaboomed.
I guarantee the fucking original director was like, all right, at the end shot, they all have to be naked. They all have to be fucking naked.
He has to rip their clothes off.
And the fucking the director they hired was like, no.
We're not doing
that. Like, I'm not actually having pretty much any naked
He's
scenes.
like, can you please have her naked with this?
Please.
For the artistic integrity of the film.
He comes into the boardroom and he's like, okay, my vision here. And the director's like, let me guess, you want her naked. And he's like, how did you know?
It's important for the vision.
It's important for the vision. She has a snake on her crotch. Come on, dude. You have to make her naked. And the director's like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Like, no.
The director's like, hell no.
I'll keep your filthy snake scene, but...
Listen, we're using your script. I'm letting you produce the movie, but you're not fucking doing this. We're not having naked women in this fucking movie. All right, well, okay, I'll compromise, all right? Okay, at least have a bathing scene where they're fucking naked. And he's like, all right, fine. He's like, fuck, fine. We'll put a fucking we'll put a scene. We'll have like a 5-second scene of them bathing each other naked. We'll make it fit
with the plot because they're whipped.
Like, I have to save this movie from your fucking horny ass. Like, I don't want to fucking do this.
Our producer's just trying to maintain his artistic integrity. You know?
Make him naked.
His porno
Because our
career.
director's like, no. It like our director's basically the fucking like that meme of the Shiba with the horny stick. He's just bonking the fucking producer.
Like,
no horny.
I got new pages for you. Oh, what is it? Is it more whipping? Yeah.
Let me guess, they're naked in this scene. How'd you guess? No horny. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Stop.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Time to go
so
get bonked.
time for us to get bonked.
Yes.
For they mostly come out at night. This has been Will.
This has been Alex.
We will talk to you all later.
Bonk.
All right. Okay. So the sheriffs show up and they're all naked.
They're all naked.
Even the sheriffs.
And then they have a giant orgy.